Welcome to another episode of ATW Curls.
Don't start.
Side.
I see what you did there.
I'm really working on ATW Curls.
If y'all can see her on
I
Patreon, you'll
really
understand
am.
she's throwing up her
I'm
gang
trying to get
signs.
our signs. We gotta, let the folks know
What time it is? Look at you. You are like a fiend. Tell everybody what you're doing over there. I done unlocked
you really
something in
have.
you.
I ain't even going to do it. Listen, God is good all the time. Okay.
And all the time, God is good. Amen.
Last minute, my mom was like, "Hey, I the Temptations play is going on at the Kimmel Center, and do you want to go?" And I was like, I was hemming and hawing because I thought I had to pay, so I was like, and she was like, "No, I'm paying. I'm paying." I was like, "Of course I want to go." So me, my sister Jolie, and my mom went to go see "Ain't Too Proud to Beg," which is the musical play of the Temptations. Let me tell you something. So my mom's like, "Well, there were two options, okay? There was $500 or $350, okay? And they're nosebleeds, but it'll be okay." I went with the $350, and I was like, "Yeah, Mom, no
That's
problem."
a lot for
It's a lot,
nosebleeds.
and for 500 would have been a lot. She was like, "But it's either like front row or up high," and we were like, "No problem, Mom."
The aerial view is good though, because you can see everything.
Tell you, we were the highest row. We had our backs to we could not get any higher. Okay? We saw everything and
more.
And it was such a beautiful, inspiring, entertaining musical. Them black
Shanti
men.
loves musicals now.
Black men, because of course it's about the Temptations. So, but the majority of the cast are black men. I say about 75 of them was gay, but they were killing it. Like, it's been making me think about art. It's been making me think about the undeniable God energy, right? Like, those men were channeling something that was just out of this world, that just hits you right in your heart and makes you excited and makes you like,
oh, I love this.
Be just filled. Like, I was tearing up, I was smiling because they were just so good and so talented and so, masters of their craft. And it just made me think about the power of art. And also, like, later I talked to you and I was like, "How much does people get paid?" And you're like, "Nothing." And I was like, "How many shows they have to do?" They don't get paid a lot. They have to do 2 shows. And it just, oh my God. And then it's that. And then they're telling the story of the Temptations, who, when I say they were wrung out and they wrung themselves out in terms of like every ounce of talent, every show that they put in, regardless if they were, abusing themselves with drugs or their body was physically breaking down because of arthritis and the wear and tear of the show. They did not stop, and they could not stop. It was just the machine had started and they just had to keep going. So it's just making me think about art and like you having this incredible talent and then it being exploited and it being perverted somehow, of like, I don't know. I've been really wrestling with this and thinking about it a lot, but my God, I was so excited and inspired by those folks in that cast. And the set was dope and the music was bumping, and I was in front of a row of like middle-aged white women. The whole audience was singing along. It was gorgeous. So shout out to them. Shout out to that masterpiece.
Now you see why I get so upset when Nene Leakes is on Broadway and Cinderella, because I'm like, there are people out there who've given their lives to this art form. Like I went to school for musical
I
theater.
thought of you
I
the
used to
entire
do
time.
it.
Yeah, I thought
Like
of you of
the
like
discipline that it takes to get up
the
on that stage and
energy
perform every night and give it your all every like at
every
2
night,
times a night. The only
screaming.
day you have off is Monday, like going for it and it's a service. You're providing a service and the wear and tear. You're not just performing every night. You still have rehearsals. You still have to rehearse with your understudy or there are people in
Your
that
body
show
must ache.
there are people in that show who are swings. Do you know what a swing is?
Girl, no.
They have to learn every role. Just in case someone can't perform, they have to step into the role. Can you imagine?
You have
You
to
know
love
every
it. You
line,
have
you
to
know
love
every
it.
cue, you know exactly where to stand, where your light is. You can perform each song. Like it is unbelievable what these people do. So shout out to all the folks. I have deep love for the theater folks because they don't get paid enough. They aren't honored enough.
But
And
they're coming from a deep spiritual, like sacred
yes,
thing that has to be expressed. And just like you said, how generous, how they are with it, how on point, how in the moment you have to be, right? Because like
yes,
otherwise
alive.
you have to be, otherwise it's immediately felt. You know what I mean? It's me like, nah, you ain't got it. And a couple of people did not have it. First of all, I ain't even going to talk about trash. But I've been inspired by I don't have the actual color purple in my collection of books, and I need to, and I wanted to go back to it, but instead I picked up Beloved, which is a heavy book. So I've been reading that and just tapping into Sister Tony, and I'm excited to watch. Did you see the movie Beloved?
Yes, but I was too young.
And me too. So I'm
I was too
excited
young.
to
We
watch.
should watch it together.
We should. I'm reading it, and now I'm gonna go watch. It's a terrible,
I know.
terrible story, and she's writing. Tony is
I
writing.
just remember the worms coming out of it was just like
It's an awful story, awful, but really powerful. And the way that Tony brings to life history, and then the people is amazing. So shout out to
I can't
Beloved.
wait for you to pass that Tony on to Joe and what that does for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she's not at an age yet.
I read that when I was a teenager, though. Like there was something, I
What's
think it's
that?
maybe because
The Color
I'm
Purple or Beloved?
Beloved. I remember weeping on my mom's in the living room floor, just crying, reading that. Maybe I was like 18, 17. But also I'm a Sag. There's something precocious in me that's like, I'm going to read all the classics. Whatever's a classic. I remember going to the library and being like, I gotta read Pinocchio. I gotta read Alice in Wonderland. Jojo don't care. I don't know if I read it with the intention to like get into the story more to be like,
Or was
if
your
this is
ego?
popping, I gotta read it. But then I
Okay.
fell in love with it. I mean, it allowed me to fall in love with a lot of stories, but it was always just being a fucking Sagittarius trying to be in the know. But maybe she will. Maybe she will. JoJo doesn't like to read the way that I do, but maybe that'll change.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll change. Lastly, in my I said last week that I was back to my morning pages, and I've been thinking a lot. Lots of stuff has been coming up. Your and my relationship has been I don't know, not heavy on my heart, but something that is really something that I think about daily. And we said it last week, but like, I know we read memes and they're like, your girlfriend relationship should be more or not as important as your romantic. Let's prioritize friendships the same that we prioritize romantic relationships, da 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 da. And I read and I'm like, yeah. But there's still a part of me that is, my conditioning isn't conditioned. And there's still a part of me that's like,
my man.
yeah, there feels something missing because I don't have a romantic relationship, a marriage in that way. And then when we sat, we were working on our merch, and I was in my Dropbox. We have an old Dropbox, and I was looking at images
You look through them too?
from
Of us back in
13, yeah,
Philly?
from a
Me
long time
too.
ago. And I was like, yo, we have been in deep relationship. Like marriage is like two people doing something with a common goal, or like they're in partnership doing life stuff together. And I was like, we really have
Yeah.
been doing this shit.
Yeah.
And it's not, and like in a way that I'm proud of. And like I see it and I'm like, oh, I should feel proud of myself. And I'm actually experiencing partnership in a way. Maybe it's not with a man, but the actual essence of commitment, seeing yourself, seeing somebody else, wanting to quit sometimes, all of the things is like, we're doing it. It's happening. There is no lack. And I'm like, that's lit, nigga.
There is no lack.
There is no lack. I'm not missing out on anything. And I
Except
and
for
I think
sex. If I could give that to you and we would both be comfortable,
get that,
I
though.
would. No, you want to have sex with me so bad.
Not with you.
Oh, yeah, you do. On the low, and I just don't.
No, I don't think so. Don't share that propaganda, child. But I think in knowing that, it also has shifted something that maybe I'll bring language to someday. But shout out to us and relationships.
Amen. Life partner.
That's all.
You almost made me cry. I've been feeling tender, honey. I am a tenderoni these days. Just a sap. I was crying on See the Thing Is. They got me. I said, now I know y'all usually the ones crying when I'm on here. Crying on the internet. Hated it. Let me bring some levity to this. I was at work today. Not at work, but working. And I often have to share my screen to guide folks through whatever we're doing. So we're doing like a website overhaul, and I'm sharing my screen. And we need to look at the feedback that we've received from the client and the medical and legal review, and make sure that the feedback aligns with their actual rules, because they often forget their own rules. And we're not supposed to be changing the website, certain aspects of the website. So we're going back and forth and doing this, what is that called when you're comparing two things? I'm better at this. Like, what am I talking
Comparison?
about? Cross-reference. Yes,
Okay.
Comparison. And so the website started with a P.
Oh.
And I was like, oh.
How many people are on a call? It's like,
It was like 15 people on the call.
oh,
And these are like people that I cannot have that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you type in P on your computer, something will finna pop up. And I was thinking, but I was like, no, this is my work computer. But I have my Google Chrome. I'm logged into my Google Chrome because I like to have all my passwords saved. So I'm like, this is my work computer, but this is my Google Chrome. And I'm already sharing my screen. So if they see me log out, it's just going to feel suspicious. Like, I don't know what to do. And the way that I hit
a split second worth of
Oh,
thought.
there's a split second. You want to know? And I get all worked up and I just hang up. And I was like, click. So then I was like, okay, go to the website, get it up, and then call back in and say, I'm so sorry, the call dropped. Here we go.
Oh my God.
So that's how I handled it. But I just need everybody to remember there are private browsers. Now, I did do the test afterwards. It did not populate. Shout out to private browsers. I live on them. But for a split second, I thought I was going to be exposed.
Browser.
Oh, I live on it.
Because I don't look at that stuff on my phone ever.
I always look at it on my phone. You remember
I look
taking my
at it on my
phone to
computer.
Google? Do you remember taking my phone to look something up and that was the last thing that I had up? Do you remember that in the car?
Yes.
You were like, Antoinette. I was like, oh my God. I'm sorry. I always
Yeah.
use my phone because
Well,
I
I
don't
just
want
I
to
just
see
used
it.
my phone, and then I realized, and that thing happened where I went back to my last search thing, and I was like, oh
Oh,
my God.
you got to clear your search and clear your
No,
cookies,
I'm going
clear all
back.
that
I
stuff.
discovered the private browser, so
Incognito browser. Amen. Hallelujah.
nasty
So,
bitches.
just a warning, not nasty. Women that are, in touch with their sexuality. I ain't even watching it. I'm just listening, child. I don't know if that's weirder. But a pivot is that I was in Philly. Black Liturgies by Arthur Riley is out.
And the Lord, now on to the Lord.
Duality is a thing. I'm holding the book up right now. I was honored to be able to get home despite the snowstorm, sit with you in a church. What's the church, Shanti? Did you look it up?
Oh goodness.
Damn. United Methodist something of Germantown, right across the street from Uncle Bobby's bookshop. Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill. The church is beautiful. The church is welcoming. It's 18th century church, beautiful organ, and very, very much a liberal space. But Cole was beautiful, and she was in conversation with Brittany Cooper. I did try to sneak and record the audio. It sounds terrible. And on the back end, I'm trying to clean it up because I want it to be available to folks, but I don't know if it's going to work.
But it's First United Methodist Church of Germantown from COG.
Yes. They have wonderful programming, it seems. If you go to their website, you can see their MLK Day service. The pastor is a wonderful Hispanic man, and they just seem pretty dope. I don't always feel good in a church, and I felt very good. You felt called?
I might go. I might go.
You should. I hope that you join. They're also having a book club for Cole's first book that I won't stop talking about on here, This Here Flesh. So they're doing really great.
I trust, or it's easy for me to trust a church that intentionally intersects politics with their with the spiritual practice or the teaching. So I think that's dope, and I'm like, okay, that intrigues me and excites me. So
yeah. With that said, I hope everybody runs out and supports Cole in this book. I do want to read friend of the podcast, Yaba Blay. She just like reviewed the book. It's called Advanced Praise. And she wrote, "This is a curation of musings that renders the spirit accessibility real. Not up in the heavens or beyond our reach, but right here within. In our hands, we hold a sacred blackness. Black liturgies will quiet you and guide you into the limitless space of yourself." So here we go. I have told myself I'm not allowed to read this until I'm done This Here Flesh. And This Here Flesh, I've beaten to the ground so badly because I've taken it with me on my travels. This is falling apart at the seams. I now have this one where I'm taking all my scribbles from this one and transferring it into this one so that I continue the book because I can't not have my scribbles. So that's how much I love Cole. That's
she was brilliant.
Free endorse. She was brilliant.
Yeah, it was a really great conversation. It was wonderful.
Brittany was a beautiful interviewer as well.
Shout out to the listeners that we met as well.
Shout out to y'all. That also means that I got Blue. Blue is home. And if you're on Patreon, you can see that I might look a little different. I have a lot of makeup on and I'm very tired. Blue is home. And I don't know if she's happy to be home, but we're going to see. My mom has a very different schedule from me. And my mom spent a lot of time with Blue in the morning while she got ready. And at 4 a.m., Blue was looking for her grandmother. And she was howling. When I say guttural, not a meow.
No, I know your cat different, girl.
Like that. All morning, would not stop. I gave her wet food when because my mom has changed her whole diet on me. Just ruined the routine. God bless my sweet mother. But, oh my God, she does not listen to anything. And so now this cat is prancing around here looking sad. And if she continues this, I'm going to take her back because I
When
don't
you're
want to be in her way of her own happiness. Like, it makes me sad. For real.
when you gave her the wet food, was she still not? She wasn't
No, she
satisfied.
was she was happy, excuse me. She was good. I gave her the wet food to ease her into the transition of coming home. And she came out of her cage. She did not cry when I put her in the cage. My mom wept. Like wept. My mom was so upset. She was like, I'm gonna miss her so much. And was like crying the way you cry when you leave your kid at college. That was how it was. My mom FaceTime this morning to see her. I was like groggy because from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Blue acted up to the point where, and I wasn't gonna spray her with the water. Like I wanted to comfort her instead of reprimand her because I'm like, she was with my mom since Thanksgiving. This is a huge transition again, and she's used to something different. So we're working through it, but I had to finally shut my door. She did sleep with me, but I had to let her on out. I was like, you got to get out. Shut my door. She's ramming herself in the door, scratching the door,
I
crying.
don't think people get it though. I don't
Wait,
think people
let me
understand that
to
this
the
is serious. This can't.
No, I know. They don't. They'll never understand. You babysat her for a little bit and you were like, Antoinette, I had to sleep with my headphones on and playing Andre's flute music. I'm dead serious. I mean, I could not get to sleep. And so I'm absolutely exhausted from her. So I'm praying that tonight is better.
Blue is 57 years old too. She ain't a kitten.
I know.
She's
Anyway,
a
we got to move on. But I'm also tired because every week this week, you can catch me on a new podcast.
Oh, pew, pew, pew.
Monday, recorded what See the Thing Is. That came out Tuesday. Wednesday, today, Can't Afford Therapy drops. Tomorrow, Around the Way Curls will drop. Friday, another episode of See the Thing Is will drop.
The girl is out in these struts. Come on.
Girl, and then we have our live recording and live show with our friend of the pod, Joelle, tomorrow. Joelle Leon at Babel Loft. So we are doing things, but I can't wait to be quiet and read my books. That's it. Shanti?
So, if you are a new or old listener to the podcast and you have not rated, subscribed, or shared your love of this podcast, this is for you. Please consider doing one of those three things. It does help us. We would not be asking every week if it doesn't. So please consider doing that. And if you'd like to see our faces, if you'd like to get access to some of this exclusive content that we have available, consider becoming a patron on our Patreon. We have a kickback. Is that what we're calling it?
Mm-hmm.
This January 28th at 7 p.m. That's exclusive to Patreon. We're all just going to kiki and have some community together. So consider joining. Shout out to our new patrons, Kelly. Shout out to our new patrons, Kelby, M, and C. Sicard. And you can join our Patreon by Antoinette.
Going to www.patreon.com/AroundTheWayCurls.
All right, now we're going to take a break. After these messages, we'll be wrong.
Shorty, Joelle just said, girl, this is your podcast. You leading the conversation. I said, don't.
What?
I said, oh my God, don't stress me out. All right.
All right, well, you know what I'm going to do? Because I'm going to come a little bit early. I'm going to just make a whole bunch of
prompts, cards.
Some cards.
Are you coming here or are you going straight there?
I'm going to probably go straight there.
All right, I put time on my calendar to dip out at 3. I was like, hard stop, 3
really?
p.m.
What time is this starting? 6, 5?
Doors open at
5.
I don't remember.
It's 5.
It's 5.
We're going to start the conversation at 6, and then it's over at 8. Ciao.
I think we can use a lot of the stuff from Black Liturgies IG. Like I have a lot of stuff actually saved in a folder but it's on my personal page. I'll send it to you that says Joel Conversation, and they're prompts.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at his stuff too. I think it's important to
Oh,
look
his
at
stuff. Yeah, I have his stuff too.
his shit.
But he's like militant. He's like, if you ain't talking about it, you ain't shit. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good mix, I think. Hopefully not. I don't know. Do you have hot shit?
Mm-mm.
All right. I'm ready. Ready?
Yeah.
And we're back. Hot shit. Okay. I didn't watch it. I thought I was going to have a chance to watch it and like really get into this. But I hear it's great. So Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni project, is on HBO. And this is an award-winning documentary that travels through time and space to reveal the enduring influence of Miss Nikki Giovanni, one of America's greatest living artists and social commentators. Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni project reckons with the inevitable passing of time through a collision of memories, moments in American history, live readings, and visually innovative treatments of Giovanni's poetry. I'm a huge fan of Nikki Giovanni. Nikki Giovanni to me is the Cat Williams of poetry.
Oh, interesting.
She don't care. Nikki doesn't give a fuck. Like there was a talk that I watched of her and Angela Davis. And Angela is very...
Is this the recent one?
The most recent, probably. It was
like
years
2020,
ago, though.
but
Yeah.
the women girl trek?
I think so. It was Girl Trek, yes. Angela is very much media trained. And I feel like Nikki is too, but she ain't with the shits. She's an older woman that's going to tell you how she feels. And she was also just such a powerhouse at a young age. I will never forget watching her and James Baldwin. And her being that young, sitting across from him and challenging his ideologies and what he was saying, and him like taking it in from this young woman who is very much, I think, definitely a fan of his, very much has reverence for him, but it doesn't stop her from having her own thought and showing up. And in my world, that was like who I wanted to be so badly as a young person. So I love her. I can't wait to watch it. I have not watched it yet. I shared it though on my social, and mad people wrote like, "Did you see it? It's so good. Oh my God. Can you talk about it on the episode?" So hopefully you and I get a chance, to watch it, and then we can discuss.
It aired at, I think, in Black Star this
Did
year,
it?
the film festival. I believe it did, and I missed it. But
Oh, very dope. Shout out to Maori.
also, we don't have any I don't have much information, but apparently Solange has a film, her art film coming out.
It's a film?
I don't know, so let me be quiet because I don't know what it is. The girl making art, though. Shout out to her. It's interesting that people don't have the same expectations of Solange that they do of Beyonce when it comes to speaking out against Palestine. I think of the two.
Because it's in her work, I think.
I hope of the two, I think she probably has far more wiggle room, and it's interesting that she...
Do you think, though, it's because Solange, through her art, it feels like I know what stand she takes very clearly. And Beyonce is so much more commercial that it's like, and probably has so much more influence and power that people want that from her. I don't know. Phenotypically, it's tricky for B. It just is.
Because she's more light skinned? They both light. They look the same.
They both light, but aesthetically, Shanti, you and I get different responses from people based off of how.
But Beyonce's different. Beyonce and Solange don't.
Do you think Beyonce and Solange present in the same way in the Black community? Beyonce with these blonde hair, very immediate trained self, and even the way she presents her art, whereas Solange is very rooted in her Blackness.
That's why I'm wondering. That's why I'm actually more surprised at Solange having, and maybe she has, and I missed it. But I'm actually like, hold up. If anybody should be saying something, I'm surprised it hasn't been.
I think we all just assume we know how she feels. But you're right. That's a good observation. I don't know.
Anyway, well, On to politics as usual.
Wait, you gotta sing it, girl, if you gonna do that, because we got Jay in the background now with
Oh,
Monty.
politics as usual. Wow. Wow. How'd it
They,
go?
I don't know which clip he uses.
That's a shame.
But Monty, I know it. I heard it
It
and I
has to
liked
be
it.
politics as usual. Wow. Like there's not a song. You don't
No, he plays. No, he puts in like reasonable
this
doubt. He puts it in there as a transition into the
well now
segment.
it's ruined and not very fluid at all. Damn.
Y'all, Shanti got politics this week, so I'm very
Not all of
excited.
it. I got
A
two
lot of
things I
it.
have to say. Now, Neon, Buffalo white supremacist, Buffalo, New York
Mm.
white supremacist Peyton Gendron, who was only 20 years old and who killed 10 people at the top supermarket, is potentially going to face the death penalty in federal court. In New York, they do not have capital punishment, but the Justice Department had the option of seeking the death penalty in a separate federal hate crimes case, and they are seeking to push that through. He is already serving a sentence of life in prison with no chance of parole after he pleaded guilty to the state of the charges of the murder and hate-motivated domestic terrorism in the 2022 attack. The Justice Department in the filing said that the United States believes the circumstances are such that in the event of a conviction, a sentence of death is justified. They spoke with the family members about this, and some folks replied by saying they're not. One person replied, "I'm not necessarily disappointed in the decision. It would have satisfied me more knowing he would have spent the rest of his life in prison, being surrounded by the population of people he tried to kill," said Mark Talley, whose
That's layered.
63-year-old mother, Geraldine, 63-year-old mother, Geraldine Talley, was killed. Another victim's family said, "I would prefer he spend the rest of his life in prison suffering every day." The defense attorney, Sonia Soglin, had a different approach, and she said, rather than a prolonged and traumatic capital prosecution, the efforts of the federal government would be better spent on combating the forces that facilitated this terrible crime, including easy access to deadly weapons and the failure of social media companies to moderate the hateful rhetoric and images that circulate online. I feel that all of these stances make sense. I feel particularly swayed by Sonia's, and I also have we've talked about this in the past, I don't necessarily support the death penalty. I don't often be like, yeah, when somebody gets the death penalty, even in this circumstance, because it feels like to me, it doesn't really help with prevention, which I agree with Sonia about that. That it doesn't get to the root of a systemic problem which often is around like mental health and just like social systemic issues. But at the same time, if I lost my 63-year-old mother, if I lost my daughter, most important, like most tragically, and probably would gut me, there is this idea of closure for victims that maybe the capital punishment offers folks, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Is punishment more important than prevention? Can both of them exist at the same time? What do you think about this here particular case?
I think first a couple caveats. I think it's, again, we're not in this position. I've never lost anybody to a hate crime, right? I don't know what that feels like. And I don't doubt that if I did, I would be like, burn it down,
Mm.
fuck them. You know,
Yeah.
like in
I
that
want to see him
moment,
die. Yeah.
what you took this life, watch me work. I will also say it's very interesting the the quote of he would spend the rest of his life in prison being surrounded by the population he tried to kill, which is highlighting the prison to pipeline system, excuse me, prison pipeline system that exists for Black Americans, right? Um, I think something that's missing out of this conversation is restoration. We have punishment, we have prevention, but we don't have what do you do with the person when they've already done the
Redemption. Yeah.
thing,
Restoration and redemption. Yeah.
right? What do we do with this person? Um, and I don't know. I don't know that I'm qualified for this answer. I know how I personally feel. The death penalty has always sat with me wrong, especially when it comes, when most times it's supported by the very folks who are far right leaning Bible thumpers and thou shalt not kill. You want to talk about thou shalt not kill with abortion, but when you feel like that you are God and that you get to determine whether someone's life is valuable or someone is worth saving, it's fine to kill then. So I always struggle with that. When I read stories about people who abuse children, rape children, we're is not funny. We're laughing because on Riverside, when you do a hand gesture, it is doing this thumbs up thing, and I have no idea why it's doing that. It's some new feature that's very frustrating. But when I see that, where I can sometimes read stories where I'm talking like the priests. Let's talk about it. The fucking Catholic priests. All of that is like, I don't have space for redemption, but that's my trauma. I'm not saying that it's not possible. Capital punishment just doesn't sit with me right, especially in such a flawed system. There's so many men and women. I don't know how many women, if I'm being completely honest, but there's many people who were put to death in circumstances where the case was muddy. I get that this case isn't muddy, but who gets to decide? That's the question for me. And are any of us really qualified? And then I understand the other argument of like, well, my taxpayer dollars shouldn't be spent paying for Peyton to live in jail for the rest of his life while, I'm still struggling. Half the community that he killed is not a community that has a ton of money. I don't know. I don't know what we do with these people, but I think that it's not one solution. And I think that we would be mistaken to think that Peyton is not a symptom of something that we're not addressing.
Yeah, that is not even being included in this punishment or prevention conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why did Peyton do this? Why is that? Why?
I'm going to do some more research, but there are countries in this world that are really handling their criminals differently, and I'd love to highlight them just to get some perspective, because this, again, the binary of punishment or prevention and redemption being this looked at as a soft or like this they're getting away with something. I have to wrap my head around, and because I feel like this is an important thing to consider, because I do think it is it reflects some deep moral values in our society that we even carry in ourselves, like personally, and to not think about it or not wrestle.
It's also it's how we're raised too. We're not taught redemption. We're not taught grace.
No.
We're taught the binary.
Or we're taught to say sorry and it makes it better, but then like that should if somebody you do
No.
something bad to you, like, nah, nigga,
But even in like
that.
if you mess up in school, if you mess up with your parents, like even in your rearing, you say sorry, but there's punishment because that's how you
Right,
learn. You know, like,
right.
and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be. I'm not one of these. I'm not a parent, number one. But I don't think that I would be one of these parents where consequences aren't real. But what are the consequences?
Or,
And are the consequences actually teaching the child the lesson?
and why did you do that? If a
Right.
kid is acting out, my thing is like, yo, what's good with you? You were good yesterday. Why all of a sudden you know?
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I'd love to hear from the listeners on this. I'm sorry. I'd love for y'all to call in
yeah,
about this because
especially people
I'd
that
love
have,
some perspective.
yeah. I mean, again, we asked about the what is it called? God damn it. What do you call it?
What?
Restorative justice. What y'all was talking about? What y'all be
What?
saying about it? Restorative justice, because this is all, a lot of this is all around this idea of moving away from this punitive criminal
Yeah.
system. Like, all right, well, what we finna do then?
Yeah. Give us a call. I haven't said this in a while. 215-948-2780. It's 215-948-2780. Sorry, Sheila, go ahead.
I've been watching myself on video, and
Not doing what I told you to do on video.
I see my breathing pattern, and it concerns me a little bit. And I even feel it now. It's like a breathlessness that I'm trying to figure out what that's all about. But
Are you taking deep breaths? Belly breaths? Are you
they're
taking...
like, I see myself and it's...
Can you drop your shoulders?
Yeah, something with my breath that I'm like, girl,
Well,
you all right
pause.
over
Let's
there?
take a deep breath
Let's all take a deep
down to your
collective breath.
pelvic floor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ready? That's when you laugh, that's when your breath is super active. No, your shoulders are up. Try it again. Ready together. Keep your shoulders where they are, just your belly.
Who told you you can't have your shoulders up?
I'm a singer, and I'm telling you that something that helps you. I'm serious.
No,
I had to be taught
qualified. Okay.
this. And sometimes they would have us lay on the floor. It's for everybody. Lay on the floor, right? On the floor specifically, not a bed, and breathe so that your lower back gets down on the floor because it's a donut around you. Ready? You want to try it?
So you want your back cavity to
Everything expands around. Imagine a donut around your stomach.
Okay.
And then you breathe down where you imagine that this air is like you're gonna feel this in your pelvic floor.
Okay, let's all do this. Ready?
Ready?
Okay, breathe in.
Better? Also in yoga class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel better?
I feel better, thanks.
See, that's why you want to have sex with me, because I can guide you through some shit, baby. That was the riz.
You really?
That's the riz I be talking about.
Me. She projected onto me.
No, I'm not. Girl, that'd be gross. not gross, but yikes. Us.
So puberty, apparently the girls are getting their breasts in early. And I knew this. I knew this even at my young age. I knew it. A study of more than 17,000 girls who underwent physical examinations at the pediatrician's offices across the country participated in a clinical study. The numbers revealed that on average, girls in the mid-1990s had started to develop breasts, which is typically the first sign of puberty, around age 10, which is a year earlier than previously recorded. The decline was even more striking in Black girls who had begun developing breasts on average at age 9.
Oh.
These studies have been done since then in dozens of countries, and worldwide, the age of puberty in girls has dropped by about 3 months per decade since the 1970s. Although similar in pattern, it's far less extreme in boys. Girls who go through puberty early are at a higher risk of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and other psychological problems compared with their peers who hit puberty later in life. These girls often get their periods earlier are at higher risk of developing breast or uterine cancer in adulthood. So everyone's saying that they can't define, there's not a definite cause of what this is linked to, but they have about 3 contributing ideas, which are obesity, stress, and chemicals. When they talked about the chemicals and did research again, they couldn't find one chemical that was spiking, but they associated them with, what are they called? Endocrine inhibitors, which affect your hormonal system. They're saying we don't know what the cause is. Several factors are most likely contributing at once, and many of these issues disproportionately impact lower income families, which may partly explain the racial difference in puberty onset in the United States, researchers have said. This is, I think, I looked at a lot of people sharing this article and everybody was just kind of like, duh. Like, I feel like a lot of people know this. Even, again, when I was younger, my mom remarked about it. I was always the one that had very small breasts compared to all the girls in 8th grade, 6th grade. Everybody got their periods earlier and were like grown-ass women at that age. So I remember feeling it.
Can I ask you a
And
question about that real fast? What was your diet?
my diet, well, I was raised by 2 vegetarian parents. So I didn't have meat, in my early years growing up, but I do now, like,
Mm-hmm.
I fuck up some
But
hormones.
not even just meat. Were you eating fast food? Were you eating food that was
So I ate really whole grains, vegetarian, healthy diet, all that. So that I definitely see
I
that.
think there's such a correlation.
It's wild.
If you're pumping hormones into chickens to make sure that the chicken breasts are bigger so that you can in turn make more money off of the chicken, and then we are then putting that into our bodies for quote unquote nourishment as children, parents, pregnant women. How on God's green earth do we think that is not, those hormones are not impacting our young people?
But they didn't mention, they mentioned it in the article, but it was actually plastic chemicals that they were
Oh, I believe it.
that they were saying contributed to this spike in the hormones or this early onset. But boys aren't having the same experience, which I think is like, I'm wondering this. My belief is that, like, yes, there's science, of course. We're grounded in, scientific reasoning, but also like an energetic or like a spiritual source. It's like first it happens at this non-material level and then it manifests in like your material gross body. And I'm just wondering, like, what I don't know what that could possibly be. Maybe I'm being too woo in this, but that's wild to me. But you got your breasts early. Your breast. How old were you when you started growing breasts?
How old are you in the 5th grade? That was when me neither. 10?
10.
I think 10, because I just Googled how old are you, what grade are you in when you're 9? And it said 4th, so 10. And I was
breasts.
10 was when my dad sat me down and said, "You have to start wearing a bra." And I was like, "No."
How
And
old
he
when
was
you
like,
got your period?
my period came, I want to say, I remember being at my grandmother's house because I was never at her house. And I remember telling my sister, "I think I'm gonna get my period." She was like, "Whatever, no, you're not." And I was like, "I think I am," because I noticed a different discharge. And I was like, something feels weird. Something looks weird. I think I might have been in the 6th grade. I think maybe I was over my grandmother's house due to the separation a little bit. So it was like one night. So probably 6th grade. I'm very
Like
bad at
12,
putting things together.
12,
That would be
11,
11.
11.
That would be like
Was it
11 for
early?
me. I don't know.
God damn it,
Was
Antoinette.
it? I I don't I wasn't talking to my friends about, did you get your period? Did you get
You
your period?
weren't, girl. I was tapped in because I was lying to my friends.
No, I do
I
remember
lied. I was like, "Yup, I got my period, girl. My back
I
hurt and
remember one
everything."
girl, she had her period in the 4th grade and she developed in the 4th grade. Yeah, because I remember she had like all this shame about having to go to the bathroom, and the teacher I know was aware because the teacher would have to make sure, like, pass her a Ziploc bag that was like had like napkins covering stuff, and it was always like, what is she doing? She got poop. Like, it was just weird. Like, what's wrong with her? I remember thinking that as a kid, but now it's like, oh, she had a period.
In studies that they did, they correlated. Again, none of this is like the major cause, but they saw these correlations. Sexual abuse
Oh
led
God.
to earlier puberty. Girls
Why?
with mothers with mood disorder,
Oh, it is spiritual.
well as the girls that did not grow up with their biological fathers.
What?
Yeah, like it's energetic. Like that's wild, bro.
But is it because we talk about how our emotional well-being impacts
No, it makes
every other
perfect sense.
aspect of our
Yeah.
lives?
No, it makes perfect sense to me, but like
Even if you're stressed, you have
worldwide?
a hard time
Yes.
producing. If
Yes.
you're going reproducing rather, like even that will impact your menstrual cycle. Like if I'm seriously stressed, sometimes I'm
It
late,
won't
I'm
come on
early,
or it
I'm
comes
just
early,
right.
like
It's
twice
just
in a
like,
month.
whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, I already have a twice a month period. I'm not God's favorite.
I but what ends up happening or what's worrisome for I mean, is that you have this woman's body and these child minds, right? And then
Mhm.
when you have your breasts and your hips are spreading and you're getting this woman's body and you're 9 years old, then you are often sexualized early. And then as a mom, like that terrifies me because you have no control over what she's being energetic, like the attention that she's
Exposed to.
getting and what she's being exposed to and how she's internalizing. And so this is just like,
You can provide tools though with how to manage it. I will say I had really good tools. Well, did I? I don't know if they were the healthiest, but I was scared shitless of my dad.
you
And
said I had healthy school. I was scared as fuck about.
he kept me together, child. But no, it had to have been healthy because I say this all the time. When I was ready to have sex, that was that was the person I had the conversation with, was my dad. And I remember when I got my period, yeah, it had to have been after they separated. So maybe it was early 7th grade actually, because that was when I was with him and he bought me a cake that said, "Congratulations, welcome to womanhood." And I was like, this is weird. Dad, thanks, but no thanks. But it was sweet. And that was all, but he didn't talk about it. He just talked about the importance of like, you gotta clean yourself a certain kind of way. You make sure you talk to your mom. And let me know when you're running out the stuff you need, all right? What you need. And I remember him feeling strange about me asking for tampons instead of pads. And he was like, why do you want them? I was like, it's easier. It feels
You
like
got tampons as a little young girl?
I started with tampons.
What?
I was like, I am not sitting in this, y'all.
I,
Absolutely not.
unpopular opinion. I prefer a
Oh,
pad.
I know, because I see them and I get irrationally angry when I see you. I'm like, childish. Okay.
It
But
is
it's so
childish.
much healthier for you. So good job by you. I mean, this might be too much for the listeners, but this is, I think, an important conversation, and we shouldn't we shouldn't hide from it is that it was a very big deal when you first told me about free bleeding. And
Mm-hmm.
I tried free bleeding because I was working from home. And at least for the first day, not all the time, Joe, I ain't got time for that. But the first day I usually would have these really severe cramps. And when I free bleed, I don't have that.
Really?
Yes, because I don't have I think the tampon
Do
is
people
like,
know what free bleed means, Doc?
it's exactly what it say it
You
is. You
just
free bleed, you
you
sitting on
just
a towel,
letting that thing drip.
just letting, and you go take yourself to the bathroom as you need, and you do your work and go on about your day. And I do think that there's something about being comfortable with that and seeing yourself and accepting this kind of miracle that's happening that's so it's such a source of like shame and embarrassment because it's, within popular society, it's not something that we like to talk about. But I remember taking the politics of menstruation in college, and the professor was a man.
Hmm.
And he's on YouTube. I'll send him to you. He's on YouTube skating. He's a skater. He was an eclectic being, but he would paint with his wife's menses. She would bleed
Oh,
in a diva
they
cup.
drawing.
That's where you draw the line. You're like, all right, I'm woo woo, but I ain't that woo woo. But
Fuck out of
she
here.
would bleed in a diva cup, and I remember I wanted to use a diva cup because I was poor, and I said I can't just be buying these expensive tampons all the time. And I did use a diva cup, but the only thing about diva cups is if you're in
They're
a public
messy.
bathroom and you have to reach and do that, and you don't have a sink in the stall, that's not something I was comfortable with, taking the cup and dumping it out in a public bathroom where people can see what you're doing. I was like, this is a lot. Um, but yeah, I think these are conversations if you have young women and if you have boys need to know about this as well. But
Boys,
Joe, I can't wait to talk to her when
well,
she
we
gets her
have to
period.
think through this because again, you have all these ideas of how magical this is going to be, and Jolie, does she resists it in a way um that I have to figure out and massage how she wants to talk about it
If she might
because
not want,
but also like I need to figure out how to understand why she doesn't want it because like
we need to work to normalize it. And we
do
need
you
to
know who
watch
my
how
mom
her,
is? Like she
I know.
my mom is sewing a kimono for her for the ceremony. So like
Wait, tell
she
people what ceremony you're talking about.
it's called a monarchy ceremony and it's when you're when the little a girl gets her period and I'm thinking through like what we're going to do to honor this transition. I'm going to cry and um I think the most important thing is again to shepherd her to be in relationship with her body because your period tells you and guides you so much about the health, like the change of your blood, the flow,
The
the
color, the
the color of
consistency, the
it,
clots.
all of the discharge before you get your period. It's just like a roadmap to be like, girl, this is coming up. You need to do this. I want this. Da 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 da. So I really
It
want her.
informs you about your eating habits. It
It
informs
does.
so
It's
much.
amazing. And when you like, and it'll tell you what it needs. You know what I mean? Like it's. I want her to be aware of that, and that like requires repetition.
Mhm.
So I just gotta keep showing up for the kid. But she'd be like, "You drawn? Like, why? What does this have to do with anything? Why are you bringing up period? Da 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 da." And just like, why can't I? I finally
I
barked back at her,
maybe
and she was like,
maybe she needs it from other sources besides you. Maybe
"Or
it's
my mom."
aunties or your
Yeah,
mom. Like,
yeah.
what if Jasmine talked to her about it? We would have to get Jasmine on board with the woo woo first. Cause she'd probably
Well,
be
she
like,
be like,
girl,
"Huh?"
just you gotta clean yourself. Like,
That's good.
but that's somebody that I see in Jolie that she has a reverence and an admiration for.
I think you would be a bet. I think I feel like
Really?
you guys are now
Or
creating this
Amanda.
relationship, but especially you even more because you were like giving her skincare. You're like the
Okay.
auntie that like got the tea in terms of like beauty and body care that
Okay.
I think it should be a group effort. But Yeah. And there's also amazing books out there, to help people follow it. But I want to offer some love to those that have reached puberty at a very young age when everybody else wasn't, and the effects that could have potentially caused, and also mothers that are dealing with that now. Again, call in if you have anything to say about that, because that's a real transition. Not 9, 8, 9. Some children, they're saying early as 6 and 7.
How can
6
a
and
six
7,
or
they're developing
7-year-old
breasts,
navigate that?
growing breasts, and your body like preparing to be able to get essentially carry, like you're ready to have sex.
Look at you. Look at you. That's why you breathe in shallow, because you got a teenager. That's right. Look at you holding your chest. You're literally hanging on to yourself.
I
Like,
know. If this podcast stays around for 5, 6 years, we're gonna have some content, y'all.
what do you mean if? Don't stress me
We're
out.
doing this for 6, 7 more years. We're gonna be on the mics.
Hell yeah, we are. Look at Shanti got an exit plan, y'all. By that time, we'll be doing live shows. We'll have a television show. We'll have all kinds of things. It'll transition into something else. We'll have a book. We'll have journals. We'll be having seminars with
We're
people
gonna
who are
have to
much
have
smarter
seasons,
than
dog.
us.
We can't be doing this twice a week
Oh,
now.
absolutely. Okay. Oh, and now I'm breathing. My breathing is off. All right, we can't get into this. We can't get into these topics just due to time, but these are things that I do want to put on our radar. Lincoln University of Missouri is dealing with the death of its vice president of student affairs, Dr. Antoinette Bailey. She died by suicide January 8th. This is her death has people calling for the university's president to resign. I watched an amazing breakdown of this on Roland Martin, who I love him, his YouTube channel. This is so unfortunate. Basically the letter that she wrote to the school detailing her abuse, detailing the lack of support that she experienced at the school. She was an alumna of the school, so she felt very strongly tied and connected to the university, and she told them about her mental health situation. There was no soft landing pad for her, and she also just felt like she was being pushed out. But this is just very sad, very, very sad. Right now, the president is on leave. He has not resigned as of today, January 17th, but this is something to watch, especially on the heels of Miss Claudine Gay and the treatment of our Black and brown women at these universities. I think about, what's the sister's name? The 1619 Project. Ugh, damn, how they ousted her as well, gave her hell. Another thing to please pay attention to, Trump won Iowa in a landslide. Scary times, y'all. Trump is also determined to keep going to trials that he actually doesn't need to go to because he's using them to help his campaign. He's back in court here in New York on another case with Eugene Carroll, the woman that he has been found liable of sexual assault. She's brought him back to court because due to the court's rulings, he was ordered to basically keep her name out his mouth, and he didn't. And he went on a campaign where he was just slurring her name. She was met with death threats from his supporters and all kinds of stuff. So she's suing him, and rightfully so. But he acted up in court, and he's doing this because it ignites his base. And every time he goes to court, he is so masterful with the narrative, and he's painting this picture that they're out to get me. The judge has instructed him not to say certain things And he continues to do it because he wants these sound bites of judges coming down hard on him. He wants to paint the picture that he is the victim and that he needs to basically uproot this morally corrupt, liberal judicial system. Because if you invalidate if you can invalidate a courtroom in New York that is saying, we find that you are liable for rape, for sexual assaulting this woman, and if you can invalidate that, you can definitely invalidate January 6th.
Yeah.
So,
oh, what a world.
Chestnut checkers. Nikki Haley does not believe that America was ever racist.
Oh, God.
I ain't got time for that shit. It was funny. Somebody wrote me and said, can you believe that she's been passing as a white woman? I said, that's a huge part of her campaign, that she came from immigrant parents who came here the right way. And
excuse me, she's passing as a white woman?
A lot of people don't realize that she is not white.
What? What's her? She's South Asian?
Yeah, you thought she was white? It's tricky. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to follow what her campaign is. She talks a lot about, her parents are definitely Indian, I believe. Not, how are you gonna say definitely and then say I believe? What? Nikki Haley's parents are.
Yo, this is like we are in an episode. I do. I remember that. I knew she was. When you just said it, it just hit me again. But this is Atlanta. This is surreal. This is absurd. This is fantastic. What? And then this Vivek Ramaswamy, Vivek
Ramaswamy has now dropped out
Atlanta.
of the race. Vivek has dropped out of the race because his campaign, one, he's an avid supporter of Trump, and which was weird. It's like, how do you support Trump? Trump is the lead in this, but we should vote for you. Like, his messaging was strange, and he was doing well for a long time. Well-ish. They're all trailed Trump by quite a bit. But Ramaswamy basically told Black people to stop playing victim since racism is not a hindrance anymore. And then in Iowa, he got fucking cooked because the voters literally are quoted saying they didn't trust him because he reminded them of 9/11. Like, that is
the best comedy. Life is hilarious.
The irony.
Yo, that is a whole
here you
fucking
go. God said, take that.
Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. That is just the funniest shit I've ever heard. I love that for him and us.
Vivek, I just don't. I have no tolerance for Vivek. Lastly, the Board of Education in Florida has just passed a rule prohibiting diversity, equity, and inclusion on 28 state campuses.
Oh, God.
It's now being replaced with the Principles of Sociology course. Now, I would love to know who the hell wrote this course. It's a one-time course. And they're basically saying, fuck y'all. Y'all not about to make us feel bad.
How to get out of here.
Oh, I think so too, because it's crumbling. We're going to talk about what Mos Def said. I also want to highlight, I don't have it on here, that Florida has a pending law where anyone, I want to get this right. I should have wrote this down. I was reading it the other day. Anyone who accuses someone else of being racist or bigoted can be brought up on charges of slander.
That's not funny. This is really dangerous and scary.
Wild. So they are just like, you cannot tell your truth. You cannot speak your truth. And this is what Cole Arthur Riley was speaking to around, what if white people had to really grieve? What if white people grieved the fact that their superiority in this country is something that needs to die? Like, give them, that's hard. I was on top and now I'm not, right? Like, even when the United States, this empire crumbles, it's something that we will even have to grieve when the dollar doesn't go as far, right? When we don't have certain protections globally, when we are not the superpower. It's a privilege. We will have to grieve that. Or even if we want to see it happen because we know it causes harm. The effects of that we will have to reckon with. What if white folks had to reckon with that? Because if they have to reckon with that, they then have to acknowledge that it does exist, right?
Making laws like this. They're
I
like,
know, and they're like, no, we are determined to
yeah,
protect our Delulu
yeah,
by any and all means necessary.
you're gonna catch me slipping.
And I'm like, chestnut checkers, baby.
My chest is I gotta go because this is
You
terrible.
out? You leaving?
My whole life just flashed.
Where
before
do you go?
I just said, how am I going to take care of my aging sister, like my sister, my mom, my dad? Like, yeah, can't go anywhere. Just got to get rich. That's where just my
See, and then we just gotta get rich,
and then you just
become the person that's harming.
just
But I
become
can just be like,
yeah,
now I protect my Delulu.
yeah.
It's
Now
wild times. All right. Not that everybody rich harms people. I'm moving away from that narrative. I know. I heard it, y'all. Okay. Pop culture. All right, hold up, Monty. Don't get mad at me, King. Let me go ahead and get my clips together. Shanti, you bring us into this so I can work this phone.
I didn't watch this entire interview. I want to make some time to do it.
Girl,
but-
it's behind a paywall. You know that, right?
Oh, good for them. Yasiin Bay has a clip that's gone viral of him talking about Drake, or he was asked about Drake. He was prompted to talk about Drake, and the question was, huh? The question was if he considered Drake to be hip hop. And as you know,
Wait, let me play the clip. Let me play the clip. Let me play a clip before you even get into it, because I have a little bit of frustration about this because so many people are playing the clip not in its entirety. And I think there's a lot of value in the end of the clip, and we're missing that. And I want to give that its credence. So let me play it really quickly. I pray that this joint work because it'd be acting dumb. Give me one second. Can you put the clip time here, Sheila?
Do I do mark? Do I mark it?
Excuse me?
Do I hit mark? Mark clip?
No. Okay. The mark is only if you feel like, oh, this is a good thing for me to clip for social. But write the clip time. All right. Back of the house. Everything's fine, y'all. 1 second. Monty, please take this portion out of me figuring out my life. Play clip is down below that, Shanti.
Okay.
Hip hop.
Drake is pop to me, in the sense like if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's
Commercial music.
shopping with an edge in certain instances.
It's
Fair.
time.
I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course, I mean,
It's
I get
commercial, entertaining, fun, good,
It's
formulaic music.
it's likable.
Likable music, yeah.
It's likable.
But is it? I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna.
She
move.
tried. She tried to help him.
So many products.
So many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising. So many
I
barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh, this is great. This is a new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses? What happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling, where's the message that I can use?
Right.
You know, what's in it for your audience apart from like banging the pom-poms?
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Sad brethren.
Is he a Sag?
Yeah.
Drake has since responded with some Umi says nonsense. I'm dismissive of Drake, and I know it. I apologize.
Because
y'all.
that was whack. Like, what? I thought Umi said, "Shine, let me shine my light
on the world.
Don't switch up the game now." What?
What's Drake's real name?
Aubrey.
Relax.
Audrey or Audrey? What's his
Aubrey, not Audrey. Okay. Next, what are your thoughts on this? I can't stand you.
name? I mean, if he's spitting facts, like,
What is he spitting though? Are we picking up what Yasiin is putting down? Or is the collective picking that up? What he's really saying?
I think it's a greater conversation also about what hip hop has become, right? Because I think we're old enough to, one, be on the receiving end of most deaths coming of age as an artist and being on the receiving end of his music and knowing exactly how that enlivened, inspired, and educated us and radicalized a lot of
Invaded
us
us.
politically,
Yeah.
and reminded us of just political notions and like identity and like
Pride,
in a way.
resistance,
And he was
exposure.
and also he was just like he's an amazing rapper as well. So like, and for us, you know, although we weren't alive for the very burgeoning of hip hop,
No.
I feel like that was our version of this new lyrical art form that, like, similar to what I said at the top of the episode, like hits you in a way that feels inspiring and enlivening, and it's just like this talent, pure talent, and like godlike energy. So Drake, we're also alive and old enough to see the arc and the rise of Drake and
the change in Drake.
and the change of hip hop, right? Which I feel like is not because of Drake.
No.
You know, I feel like
it's consumerism. It's the SKUs.
It's just changed. So we're now watching like this whole art form and what it produces and how it's being sold and how it's being received in a lot of ways.
And who's receiving it? Who it's being even marketed to and for.
Right. And so it's not about, I guess it's less about Drake and more about like what
exactly.
What we are all, how every single, not everything, but how easy it is that capitalism, and again, this really potent, powerful energy can be exploited and made perverse. That is art. And hip hop is that in so many ways.
I talked about this on See the Thing Is, and this interchangeable term of hip hop and rap, I think we need to stop that. I looked up while I was talking to the ladies. Hip hop is composed, of four main elements: emceeing, DJing, graffiti, and breakdancing. Also, obviously, includes lifestyle trends and slang and mindset. Rap is the combination of rhyme and poetry to a musical beat. So not all rap, I think, is hip hop. I truly feel that way. And again, I love that you said this is so much less about Drake and more about Drake is a symptom of everything that you were talking about. I think there is a collective group of folks. It was so interesting. I was talking about this on there, and Mandy said the first time that she was exposed to Mos Def was the hip opera Carmen, and he was acting. He was acting. She was like, "That's what I knew of Mos Def." I begged her to start the episode with Definition from Black Star, and she was like, she texted me, was like, "Girl, I turned that off." Like, if you can't feel that, then I get it. You're gonna see this and be like, I mean, you guys sound like the old heads, right? That our parents were like, you kids don't know nothing about, and that's how I think some people are receiving this.
But what, and I want to know from Mandy, what music, because
Mandy
maybe
Cole.
we have it wrong. Maybe not wrong, but maybe it's just a different, what penetrates her and activates her?
That's her favorite.
J. Cole.
She
I love that.
loved J.
That
Cole.
cracks me up and that tracks.
She
So,
loves
okay.
J. Cole.
So what does she thinks J. Cole is hip hop or?
Absolutely. She thinks J. Cole is the best thing since sliced bread. And it tracks because that's that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
What's interesting is I saw someone write like this discrepancy of age between Mandy and Antoinette that they're always highlighting is so strange. And I get that too. I think that you and I, like Mandy's not that much younger than us at all. But you and I think we're exposed to certain music that when did Black Star come out?
That was before our time.
Yeah, but you can't tell, like, I know Black Star. Black Star came out in 1996. So it's like, how old was I in 1996? I don't math. I was 9. I didn't even have my period yet. I don't know what's going, like.
Was coming in though.
Shut the fuck up. So that's the thing. That's like, there are these people where there are these people in certain generations that went back and like fetched it, had that Sankofa moment of like, oh, who probably took themselves a little too seriously.
Again, precocious. You could not.
Right. I wanted to be woke. I wanted to understand what this was rooted in. And not everybody had that exposure. And then she highlighted, which was so important, geography. She's like, I'm from Florida. We were not listening to that. That wasn't our thing. Like there were other genres of hip hop that we were crunk, like all these other things they were taking over when I was coming up. Like
he was way out of her time though. Like that was way past her.
Yeah.
That
So
era
it's also cultural as well. Whereas Drake is popular. He is pop because Drake right now, I don't think there's a crevice in the United States where Drake is not a part of the conversation.
I would love for Drake to sit down and talk about this seriously because as much as we're trying to like young boy him, I think Drake is.
I'm not trying to do that.
I am. As much as we're trying to dismiss him or collectively dismiss him, I think he actually is really intelligent and really has a lot of reverence for Mos Def and as a Scorpio, so he's probably deeply hurt as well.
Oh yeah.
But like, I would love to actually hear him talk about it and go deep into it because I think he would probably even have some very insightful things to share. But of
I
course,
don't
he's
think he can
a
do that.
weird performer and weird person and wouldn't reveal this.
Exactly.
other
I
part
don't
of
think that
himself
he can
because
do
he's-
that yet. I think that he has to perform.
I can't wait for him to do that because I think he is an interesting being.
I think that he has to perform happiness and success.
Happiness, you think he performs?
I don't think that he's happy when it comes to how he is classified in his art form. I think he tries to take his art. I think he does take his art very seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that we, the collective, have put him in this box. He's found a formula that works.
He's talented.
And he's talented. I will never say he's not, but he's found a formula that works. But I believe and know from different sources that Drake wants to be taken seriously and popular the way Kendrick Lamar is.
Well, you got to be fucking kidding me.
But that's his goal, and I think it's deeply painful when that is not how people see you. And I think that based off of his upbringing on Degrassi, his Jewish white mother, his son that everybody's like,
You think it's because of his biracialness?
are you
It
kidding
is.
me? The way you play Drake because he's
That's
biracial
a
with your
shame.
biracial ass, the way you dismiss him, like, not a biracial, can't take you seriously, bye.
But J. Cole's biracial.
But J. Cole is a different type of biracial.
Is he?
J.
We
Cole
don't
is
know.
out here
Let me
presenting.
see.
It's all about the narrative. J.
Which
Cole
J.
got his
Cole?
freeform locks. He running around here talking about
Drake got his
revolution.
braids. His son
Girl,
got braids. Adonis got braids too.
Drake has barrettes in his hair. And not in the same way the little Uzi Vert does. It's just different. It's unfair. It's unfair. I think we're very unfair to Drake. I do. I think we're unfair to Drake, but I also think Drake deserves a lot of
Oh, I
what he
think he
gets.
deserves it. Yeah, I think.
Like, I'm like, there's
Drake
so
gotta
many
stop.
times when I'm like, this is y'all's king. Like, he does weird, corny stuff, especially when it comes to women, especially comes to him speaking on Meg. Like, there's just different things. It's like, it disqualifies you from the conversation, bro. I don't want to go on about this. Hold on. I think I need to buy a new mic
I just
stand.
want Mos Def
Constantly
to stop
falling.
shaving his beard like that. I
Shut-
don't like this
Shanti.
Amish look that he's giving. And
Why would you, men, we always ask
Yasiin.
this. Why would you shave a perfectly,
why would you do that? Why you want that
connected
neck and
beard?
lip up there? What's that doing? Unless
Why
it's
y'all
working.
do that?
Why would he do it?
Please.
Why did he do that? He's giving. I always be looking at him like, wait a minute, something ain't. What? And then you got this. And then he be talking. I
do
love
want to
him.
mention who this is from the cutting room floor, and shout out to Sis because the full interview is behind a paywall.
Go
This
ahead, girl.
podcast is only on Patreon, and she does amazing interviews, and I can't imagine what she's getting paid on there. I'd love to understand how she's getting these artists. Like, shout out to her. Unfortunately, I don't know how to say her name correctly, and I'm going to mispronounce it. But this is also the clip that I think I would like to see go viral that's not. So I just want to play it and then we can move on to something else because I got a bone to pick with Mr. VladTV with his little raggedy tail. So
First timers with this. You know, we've never had floor seats to this. You know, the situation in the Congo is dire. The situation in Sudan is gross. You know, like this thing of like normalizing this type of barbarity and making children subject to it. And then when you read the record of history, how like this is par for the course, you know, this is par for the course for what they do. What is known as the United States of America is a colonial settler project, almost like inherently the Massachusetts Bay Colony. All of these were corporate concerns. We're first timers with this.
apologies.
You know,
It gets cut off because Twitter only lets you post a certain amount of time. But there's so much more that he discussed on this podcast is my point. And I might pay my little coins to watch the rest of it. But that is the type of conversation that I don't think we'll ever get, or I won't say we'll ever. We haven't gotten from Drake yet. And I think that is where certain people will dismiss him and his level of seriousness based off of the fact that, like, are you digging deep or are you just so many SKUs?
Beyonce, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. But go ahead. We don't have to even talk anymore.
All right.
But motherfucking
Beyonce acts like it though.
girl,
She gives us lemonade. She gives us, I'm not saying she's not. She gives us Black is King. She gives us Black Parade.
Which makes it all the more tricky. Which makes the web even more
The fact that you ruined my
venomous.
chances of ever working for Parkwood. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
No.
And
It's me. I am
want to
Shanti
work
Mary's
for
Antoinette
her.
has always supported and championed.
I'm in the
And-
Matrix. I'm in the Beyonce Matrix. And I'm not coming out unless she got to do something really wrong for me to come out.
She got us under a spell.
All right. Ooh, y'all getting a long one today. You're welcome.
I know. What's going on?
Tricky. Sorry, Shanti. All right. That's because my damn updates were long. I can't not.
Well,
I can't not talk about this. VladTV. Do you know who VladTV is?
No, girl, you keep mentioning him.
You do. You've seen his interviews. He does these interviews. He's wildly successful. He does these interviews where he's never on camera. It's a one shot, and they're usually in front of like a drum set. And these people, mostly Black people, he's asking them these questions, and it's always very provocative. A lot of people in the Black community specifically are frustrated with him because they feel like half the time these people go on there, they run their mouths a little too much, and then the feds end up using his interviews against them in court.
Oh no.
And they're like, why don't you, if you really care about these people are really your friends, why do you put that out? Why don't you stop them? Like, why? I am very suspicious of Mr. Vlad TV. But Vlad, with his white self,
he's a white person.
yes.
Damn.
And it's fine to be a white person, but you
And
need
you
to,
fuck.
not it's fine to be a white person, but
It's okay. And it is okay to be a white.
says the two girls with white mamas. But
I don't know if it's okay to be a white person, child.
don't say that. Listen, it's okay to be a white person, but girl, you put that clip. First of all, you had a clip saying 9 minutes and 48 seconds, Shanti, and it's on the Vlad TV thing.
It is in
Please.
Vlad's area. You had one job.
And I don't think that's the right time. It definitely wasn't 9 minutes and 48 seconds into this episode. I don't know what time it was, but I don't know what's going on. Y'all, Shanti's. We talked about this before the episode. Like, all right, girls, a lot of clips. Just do me a favor, write the clip.
It might have been an hour and 9 minutes because we've been on it was an hour and 9.
You still not putting it in the right place.
Wait a minute.
See where it says play clip? That one. Sorry, Monty. Monty will figure it out. Apologies, King. Anyway.
Where did it say play clip at?
Oh my God.
I need glasses. Point. I'm an older person. There we go.
Okay, we're here. Vlad thought it was okay to speak about Black women's pay, and I hated it. He was interviewing.
Spoke about it.
Oh yeah, I'm about to play the clip. He was interviewing Math Hoffa, a rapper who I've actually shared space with, and
careful,
interesting character.
Good.
He has a wildly successful podcast. Wildly successful independent podcast where they do it in a barbershop. Shout out to Mech. Mech is like the voice of reason to me. I love Mech on there. He has become a friend of mine. But Math has these very provocative, controversial views where he believes Kanye was right, slavery was a choice, things like that. Where I don't always think he's qualified to speak on the things that he's speaking on, but how dismissive of that is, I'm wildly dismissive by saying that. So tricky.
Aware,
all around.
Aware, self-aware. That's good.
Here's the clip of Mr. Vlad. So irritating. Christian, this dude. Oh, I just thought.
No one wants to hear a millionaire complain that they didn't get more millions. You're already a millionaire. Taraji lives in a $6 million house. She's worth $12 million. What? No one wants to hear. Sacrificed. Nobody wants to hear Vlad complain about money.
For the sake of her craft, she has sacrificed.
Sacrifice?
Hold on, she's sacrificed.
Listen to me.
Or is that what she really wanted to do? Let me talk.
Okay.
For the sake of her craft, she has sacrificed her privacy. She cannot walk around in regular. Okay, she live in a $6 million house. Why? Why? Can't she live in the hood? Can she live in the burbs? Will she be left alone? She won't, right?
Someone worth $12 million will never
live someplace where
she's forced to live in a $6 million house. Boo-hoo. Oh, no. I have to live in my $6 million house.
But understand,
woe is me. Life is so hard.
Yo, here's the bigger problem.
All right, enough. Shockingly, the person who's like, wealth, like ridiculous amounts of wealth can be harmful. Listen here, sir. I appreciate Math for what he was saying on here. My bun coming apart, child. I appreciate what he was saying. But I question one, this man, Vlad, thinking that it's a good idea in the climate that we're in for him to invalidate Taraji's experience in this way. It's all about what is it? It needs to be when things need to align. It's like the WNBA players are not asking, what is the word? Not asking to get
Equity?
paid. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. They're asking to get paid proportionate. It's all about things being proportionate. The WNBA players are not rich, but they are asking to get paid in a way that reflects the same percentages that the NBA players are getting paid, right? It needs to reflect something that is proportionate to their output. Taraji is an A-list star at this point. She is. I didn't necessarily realize that, but she is. Jennifer Aniston is getting paid oodles of, like, she's not getting paid $100,000, $250,000, $300,000 for a movie, right? She's getting paid millions of dollars. Sandra Bullock is getting paid. I mean, she has it set up so that her actual company, any movie she's in, her production company has to like do it. So she's raking in the dough. Reese Witherspoon, all of these people that for some reason seem to be valued at a higher rate. And what Taraji is saying is, I just, like you said, want there to be some sort of equity here. I want it to be proportionate to my counterparts. I don't want to have to beg and prove my worth over and over again when there's not another name that you call. I'm on the line for your movie, but I still have to beg for scraps. And my thing is, I hate that this white man thought it was appropriate to invalidate her, because you're literally doing what she's saying is happening to her. You're literally saying you need to be grateful for what we give you and be happy that you're even here. This is our space. We own it. Boo-hoo, you're still good. I don't care if it's not equitable. Be grateful, little girl. And then on top of that, I guess I questioned why, like on a larger, more macro level, I just see us always, us the collective, the public, rushing so quickly to invalidate other, like, people's very real feelings around inequity. As long as they're not starving or dead, then their problems don't matter. And if they're going to do it to Taraji, they will do it to me at work. This is systemic. Taraji is speaking for all of us. I don't think she's just speaking for herself. Mm-hmm. She's saying she's doing this for Danielle Brooks. She's saying she's doing this for Fantasia. That means she's doing it for the costume designers. That means she's doing it for the caterers. That means she's doing it for the hairstylists. She's exposing something where we could all benefit from her taking this risk, one, and doing it and speaking her truth. And then fucking Vlad takes this opportunity to say boo-hoo. Who do you think you are? And this is one of those things where I'm not one of these people that's like, you can't come into our world. White people, stay in your lane. You don't know about our culture. I'm not one of those people, but I am one of those people that recognize when you're a guest in the space. You're welcome, but recognize that you're a guest. I think I'm one of those people because I've had to do it my whole life. And that might be a hot take. And you ain't clicked that mark clip button yet, but that might be a hot take, but it's just like, I don't want to hear that from him, and or in that way. I wish that there was an opportunity, and I'm trying to get better at it, is, hey, Math, what would you say to people who say this in response to Taraji? You know, instead of being so dismissive, you're more curious about a community that is not your own, about a struggle that is not your own. I felt very strongly about this. It made me
Yeah.
irrationally angry. And just like you were talking about, these wonderful actors, these Black actors that you saw in the Ain't Too Proud to Beg musical, they gotta beg.
Right.
I'm done.
I think you killed that.
Yo, shut up.
I'm not joking.
You
I don't
can't
have.
Shanti said
why-
we an
why you-
hour and 40 minutes in. You the girl. I ain't got nothing to say. Next.
I
love you.
know.
I know
Any
my
other thing I would say would be redundant, and I don't have anything new or revelatory to add to that. I think you.
All right.
Yes.
Fuck Vlad.
God damn you, Vlad. This whole time I thought he was like a Hollywood. I didn't know he was a personality. I thought he was like a Hollywood TV or a shade room, like the Vlad TV was.
He is. On YouTube, he's built a whole
No,
empire.
but I didn't know it was built around his interviews. I thought it was more like
Oh no, yeah.
an
It's not a blog kind of
yeah,
thing.
that was a blog. I'm gonna go through this quickly, but I didn't realize, but it's all. I was like, why are these award shows happening now, back to
It's
back?
award
But
season.
It's award season, and also a lot of them were canceled last year due to the strike. So they're boom, 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 bringing it out. And most recently, the Emmys gave our Black actors their flowers. Shout out to Philly's own. Did you know I went to high school with Quinta?
Your first high school?
My second high school.
Oh yeah, Saul was your first. Just a
I went to Chad
Rolling
with
Stone.
Quinta Brunson. She won lead actress in comedy series Abbott Elementary. She looked fabulous. She was
first
very
time in 40 years.
45 years.
Oh my God. And then was a Carol Burnett gave her the
Burnett?
award. Do you know who that is?
Carol Burnett.
Burnett, excuse me.
Yes.
Do you know? Like
Yeah. Carol's
theater
the god,
god.
the comedian god.
God. Anyway,
Yes.
go ahead. Why would I say Burnett?
Because you said, let me put that shit fancy.
It's-
It
she
can't be
fancy.
Burnett.
It can't be Burnett. All right, go ahead.
I don't know how to say this being's name, and I should because I'm growing more and more obsessed with her. Ayo Edebiri.
Io. I think
Io.
Io. Because that was on the
Edebiri.
list of names for my child. Io means
Io?
happiness. Yeah. I knew a
That's
Io.
a dope boy. You would name your girl or your boy that?
The woman, there was a woman that I met. She was
That's
the
a
first
great
woman that I was like,
name.
you are the most self-possessed,
Oh.
fabulous woman I've ever, like, I was really inspired by her, and her name was Io. Anyway, an aside.
Io won an Emmy, a Golden Globe, and a Critics' Choice Award. She raked up, and she motherfucking deserved that motherfucking every one that she got. But for the Emmy, she won for Best Supporting Actress in Comedy Series The Bear, which you still have not.
I'm
Watched.
it's on, I'm doing it. Don't
I'm jealous
worry.
of you. I'm jealous of you that you get to watch us anew with fresh
Oh.
ears, eyes, and heart because love it. Niecy Nash won Supporting Actress in Limited Series for the movie Monster about Jeffrey Dahmer. And she had a very iconic thank you speech. She ended it with, and you know who I want to thank? I want to thank me for believing in me and doing what they said I could not do. And I want to say to myself in front of all you beautiful people, go on, girl, with your bad self. You did that.
That's
She
so
received-
on brand.
She received a lot of love for that. And the role that she played was extremely difficult and stressful.
You watched
and
it?
I could not watch that show.
I couldn't watch that show
But
either.
I
Okay.
know, and this is a true account, that the role that she played of that character had to weigh on her heart. Not only the character, but also I think she had a lot of like imposter syndrome and just, again, going back to Taraji, just industry shit that she had to deal with. So shout out to you, Niecy. You deserve it. Also a cute name, great name. Shout out to the Asian persuasion. So many Asians won in
Only
the
you
Emmys.
could say that. Only you.
Beef to Comb Limited Best Limited Series, Ali Wong, the lead actress in Beef, won. I loved Beef. It wasn't everybody's favorite, but that was one of those things that hit me in my heart. I loved it. Lee Sung-jin won for God damn it. I don't have the movie there. I apologize. That's a shame.
They won, no. Shout out to them.
I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the movies too, because now I have some new things that I want to watch, but they look good. Martin.
Oh, I have something here. Martin and they had, it was an interesting thing. They had these set designs. They reunited casts of iconic shows, and they had them reunited on their set design. And like Martin was there, it was so interesting to see that again. Like, oh, I remember. And then without Tommy, it just felt like, And then to see Martin kind of in the health that he's in, it was like, wow, life, man. Gina looked great though.
She did, because sometimes she
got a little bit of something done, and y'all will see it after this divorce. Good. Watch me work. But to Gina, they made a little joke about how, girl, isn't it crazy to be on here? Like, we got to keep ourselves. I didn't like seeing myself in Spanx or something like that all them years ago, and she was like, girl, I can't relate, because that was a joke. Like, girl, I'm just a brick house. Been a brick house, always will be.
She looks good.
Listen, I know they got one, Pam. Was that her name? Did I just say the wrong name?
Yes, Pam.
I'm tripping. I just got so scared. Like, my life flashed before my eyes. Like, oh my God. I know they got on her, but she was the baddest thing walking on that show.
She really was. Hair was always on point.
Ooh.
Her hair was always on point. She looked good.
All this BDB stuff. I'm like, shut up. That's why it was funny, because she wasn't actually tore up.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that I loved this tweet that I saw from the baddest Mitch. And she said the contrast of Cheers having 28 Emmys and Martin having 0, because they also reunited Cheers.
Don't make me
upset. And I loved that Martin in the Emmy script highlighted the fact that they never won an Emmy. That was part of the shtick. Was that Cole was like, we finally getting our Emmy. And Gina was like, Cole, we're here to present. No, we're not. But I love that they pointed that out. You hated that.
No, I hate that they never did.
Oh, yeah, no. It's a sin. It's a sin. But, here you go.
Shout out to white excellence. We got the blacks, we got the Asians, we got the people that were snubbed, but the ones that really took it home, right? And rightfully so. Not because they white, but rightfully motherfuckers.
Deserving.
Because the writing and acting storyline was impeccable. Shout out to Succession for taking home the awards for Outstanding Drama Series, Best Lead Actor, Best Lead Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Lead Actor, Best Lead Actor twice. Am I repeating things?
It's getting tricky, but keep going. Just go for it. They got a lot of awards,
It's a lot of awards, y'all. It is a lot, okay? I miss these people. I miss these characters. I want to watch it again, but well deserved. Sarah Snook, Matthew McFadden, and Kieran Culkin. Did what's his name get an award? Because for some reason I love that he didn't.
Who?
And that's a shame. No.
Him? Who?
The brother.
Kendall.
Kendall
I don't think he did.
And Kendall got on everybody's nerve on that set because he was
neurotic, angsty.
But what's it called?
Method
actor. And he just was like, chill, bro.
I love that you love that he's deeply disappointed somewhere and going through it.
It's
just
not,
like his character. It's reflective of the character.
I know. That's bad of me, but there's just irony. Just life is just interesting. But all those three, I love them. I hope they feel good. And if you haven't watched Succession, you should, because that is a masterpiece. Mm-hmm.
Finally, I just have this last point that Coleman Domingo is so fine. Yes,
him?
I know that he's gay. Everybody can't wait to tell me that. That's fine. He could be gay. Okay? Tyler, the Creator, can still get it. I still got a crush on him. But Coleman,
But why you Tyler he gay too?
Tyler is queer. Tyler give it to anybody now, and I take it. But Coleman is, and it looked like he invented menswear the way he's been dressing.
You know
I'm
he's
like,
motherfucking born in Philly?
you fucking lie.
He was
He's
born in
Philly?
Philadelphia, Philly. I don't know if he was raised there. His father is from Belize and his family is from Guatemala. The boy is exotic.
Oh, they're so problematic. We gotta go. All right.
He attended Overbrook High School and went to Temple University.
Oh my God, I gotta
He's
text
Philly's
that. I gotta
finest.
send
For
that
real, for
to
real.
Jazz. All we do is sit and send each other pictures of him. Like, look at him here, look at him here, look at him here. His style, and he almost gave up. He almost left the acting world because he wasn't getting the work. He almost went and got a regular
this
job.
person really needs to be
His
given.
stylist and Fantasia's stylist, don't
Killing.
tell me nothing about it. She been eating us up.
She
I
been
said,
looking
who
good.
is styling Miss Fantasia? Whoever's doing it, bless your soul. You're teaching us.
Styling him, and they won't tell us.
And the way that he wears it, and oh, honey, this is Versace. This is like he's just giving it.
Wayman Bannerman and Micah McDonald. I love this for y'all. If that's for you. Good job.
I cannot wait to see him at the Met Gala. I don't even care about the Met Gala, but I just want to see what he does. I will wait all. I know he's going to be invited. He's the it boy right now. There's no way he can't be, and I just love him.
Wayman and Micah, which is a two fashion and celebrity stylists, two folks there. So,
well, shout out to Wayman and them.
shout out to y'all, Wayman and them.
All
All right,
right,
girl, I gotta go. So
2-hour episode. We gotta go. Love y'all. Well, how we say we was gonna end the episode?
I forgot, child.
Come on. It was about. Come on. You do know. You can't remember?
Peace to the gods.
Old and the new.
We got a whole other episode to record.
No, we just
you kidding me?
we just have the intro.
We have a whole